Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. I'm glad that everyone is joining us. We want you to go ahead and like and share this broadcast with others. We are so excited that everyone is joining us on this wonderful Tuesday evening for our special Tea Time Tuesday. We all are so glad that you are here. Our team is here. Hope Milton, Patrick Brown, myself, Carmela Head. We're so glad that you're here. And most importantly, we want to invite you in for a time of pause, a time of reset, a time of just taking a moment to slow down, even in the evening, and then also to promote wellness this month, and then most importantly, to build resilience. And so we want to go ahead and get started. Hope is going to bring us in. Hi, Hope, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I'm going to step back, and Hope is going to take us into our Tea Time Tuesday tonight.
All right. So we're going to talk about the book of the week. Good afternoon, tea timers. Hope you got your tea, got your coffee. The Renewal Center's book of the week from our library is Wilderness Time, a Guide for Spiritual Retreat by Emily Griffin. And let's talk a little bit about this book. Now, time in the wilderness, solitary meditation on simplicity, prayer, and other key disciplines of faith is directly in keeping with Jesus' example of going apart to pray. Now, with the clarity and encouragement that distinguish the revocable collection of spiritual resources, this general guide to retreat unvarnishes the historical tradition and so reveals marvelous opportunities for spiritual renewal in contemporary Christian practice. Again, our book of the week is Wilderness Time, a Guide for Spiritual Retreat by Emily Griffin. All right.
Yes. Thank you, Hope. And with that, we're going to move into our tea of the week. So if you like lemon or enjoy lemon, orange, grapefruit, most of the citrus fruits, I think you may enjoy our tea of the week, which is pomelo tea. Pomelo tea. I got a little tongue tied there. And, I found out some really interesting information. How many of you all out there, give us some thumbs up, have you ever heard of pomelo tea? I it's kind of new to me, actually. This actual fruit, I learned a lot about this fruit. I didn't even know this fruit existed. This is a fruit that's bigger than all of the citrus fruits. It's bigger than the grapefruit, actually. It's green on the outside, and then it has it's kind of the same taste as the grapefruit, a little bit in the inside. Yeah, I see Tony and says she never heard of it. I haven't heard of it either. This is new to me too. But actually finding out that there's a wonderful tea that is made from the pomelo fruit. This fruit has originated in China, mostly grown in China, harvested there. This is a very flavorful fruit and very popular tea, actually, that's made from this fruit. It is, I would say, very mild in taste from what I did my research on. It's considered to be enjoyed by many people across the world, actually. So I'm looking forward to tasting this tea. It's steeped in hot black tea. And then, you can add your, I would say, sweetener of taste. Have you guys ever heard of that, Patrick, Hope? No? So we're learning something new. And hopefully we might be able to offer this in the cafe at the Renewal Center. So our tea of the week is pomelo tea. And so I'm really excited to bring that to you this evening. And so while everybody is here, I guess you can go ahead and start telling us while we get ready for locating you. Tell us what kind of tea you're drinking out there tonight. Any teas coming in?
No, not yet. I'm still looking here.
Well, I have Jamaica tea tonight. What do you guys have?
I have Earl Grey tonight.
Oh, that's your favorite. That's Hope's
That's
favorite
my
tea.
favorite.
I have a ginger peach turmeric.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
So we have some other folks coming in with the ginger
Let's see here.
tea.
Green tea,
Tony has tea.
ginger tea.
Ginger tea.
Monique says it's the first time she's heard of this tea. I haven't heard of it either.
Yeah, me too.
Where is pomelo grown anyway, by the way?
Mostly in Southeast Asia and some of the most of the Asian countries.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. I've never had that before. I don't think I've. Well, hey, cultural diversity. All right.
Yes, we're always learning something new on tea time, aren't we?
Mhm.
New teas.
Let's see here. What else we got coming in? Lemon and ginseng. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Let's see here. Peppermint tea. We can give people some time. This is the evening. We're getting some good teas in.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Yes. This is nice. This is a good way to slow down.
Mhm. Very calm.
Mhm. Well, folks, I want to thank everybody for coming to Tea Time. This is really good. Wonderful book of the week, good tea of the week. Busy week already for many of us. So let's take a moment, if we will, and let's locate ourselves just for a moment. First of all, let's take a sip of a tea, and then let's just really settle ourselves. Olivia has something to say. She says, "What sweeteners do we use?" Well, I sometimes don't even use any sweetener, depending on how I want to taste the tea. I don't know about you all, but and if I do, I'll use either some honey with this
Mhm.
eucalyptus in it, which is really nice. So those are kind of the two that I use for my sweeteners. But depending on how I want to flow with it, I'll just drink as is. And tonight I have as is. How about you two?
Well, I like honey. Go ahead, Hope.
Oh, I don't use any sweeteners as well. So if sometimes I'll do honey,
Mhm.
no sugar, but most of the time, like tonight, I had the Earl Grey. It has no sweeteners.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mel, you have
Well,
any
I don't
sweeteners
know.
this evening?
I can hear. Say that again.
What about you as far as your sweetener?
Oh, well, I like honey. I like honey, and sometimes when I have a guava, the
Mhm.
blue guava, I use that.
Mhm.
It's a lot sweeter, so I don't have to use a lot, just a little bit. But I tend to stick to the honey.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. So everybody's go ahead and sip. Let's go ahead and just do about 30 seconds to just locate ourselves, if we will. Get a good posture and let's just breathe in and this is good. All right, everybody, you've located yourself. This is good. I hope everyone that is with us, all of our tea timers, go ahead and share this on your pages, if you will. Tag your friends, let them know that we're on. We will be doing tea time on fourth Tuesdays in the evening at 7 p.m. Generally, it's in Tuesdays at noon. It's been going on for about a year and a half now. And so we like to switch a little bit and come on as a team and with you. And let's connect on Tuesday evenings at 7. We'll be really sharing information and engaging in things that will help us with refreshing ourselves. It's about renewing who we are and where we are, but also fostering resilience. And so before we get started this evening, if you are on your laptop or perhaps you have your phone with you, I want you to go to this page and I want to just share a few things with you. I want you to go to menti.com and then I want you to type in this code, menti.com. And then you're going to type in a particular code. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some things about resilience, but I'd like you to, if you will, I have a little mistake here. Hold on one second. Just a moment. Just a second. Okay, it's not refreshing itself. Can you all still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I will come back to this just a second. Okay, I'm having an error in the actual software. So how about we do this? I'm going to shift. This evening, I want to focus specifically on, since we are in Wellness Month, we're celebrating Wellness Month here at the Renewal Center. And my presentation this evening, our conversation for our tea time, is about how resilience brings wellness, how resilience can bring wellness, and how they're connected, and the importance of fostering resilience within us so that that leads us to wellness and what that means. And I had an activity here that I wanted to interact with you, but I'll shift a little bit and I'll ask you a question. What is resilience? Based upon just where you are. I can't do the Menti code right now because it kind of broke down, so I apologize for that, Antonia. I'm going to go ahead and just ask everyone, if you're out there, what is resilience? Just based upon your understanding of the word resilience, what does that mean? Resilience. What's your definition or description? Let's go ahead and hear from you. Because again, part of what we do here at the Renewal Center is renewing minds. That's one part of what we do. And so the way we do that is by having interactive discussions. So in your own words, what is resilience? Let's go ahead and hear from you. And then we're going to take some of your definitions and descriptions of resilience, and then we're going to walk through how we're building wellness through resilience and how we can do that collectively when we're building wellness. We want to specifically focus on that, why that is important, okay? So let's hear some of these answers that are coming through. All right, they're coming through now. Maintaining. Hey, Renita, how you doing? Good evening. Maintaining and moving forward through challenges or setbacks. All right, thank you for sharing. Anybody else, please feel free to share. What is resilience? In your own words, what comes to mind when you think about the term resilience? Let's see here. Ravella says, capacity to bounce back from challenging or setbacks, from challenges, challenging or setbacks. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? What is resilience? When you think of the term resilience, what comes to your mind? We're focusing today on that because as we're closing out, we got another week or so, and we'll be closing out our month on wellness. Oh, some more is coming in. This is good. All right. Resilience is maintaining a sense of balance in the midst of adversity. Thank you for that, Monique. Yeah. Thank you for that. Antonia says here, being able to function healthy in spite of adversaries and conflicts. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Any other? Okay, Mel, Hope, do you want to just maybe share with us your thoughts when you think of the term resilience?
Well, I would say, thinking about what Ravella said, was a capacity to bounce back. That was the first thing that popped in my mind, was bouncing back. But then also, piece of that would be transcending, kind of transcending the challenges that we face, finding a way to transcend the way we think about them and process them. So I would say bouncing back and transcending our way of thinking.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Hope.
I would say form of mental strength and how we view our challenges. Mental strength to be able to move forward from challenges. So I would say strength, the mental capacity.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Got some more answers coming in. Michelle is saying being pliable during any season of life. All right. Dr. Paul Brown, hey, Dad, again. Keep pressing, regardless of the circumstances. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Colin, good to see you. Thank you for coming this evening. Transforming negative input into positive outcomes. Now, folks, as we are going through this exercise, this renewal practice this evening, I want you to think about it. Part of resilience is how we foster community. So I'm going to bring up a few things to help guide us. 6 principles of building wellness through resilience. So let me know when you're ready, because we're about to go on this tea time ride this evening. All right, let's go. First of all, number 1 is build mental toughness. Build mental toughness. Now, I want to start with this one because one of the key things about mental toughness, when we're thinking about building mental toughness, is about helping us quickly dispel unrealistic beliefs. That's where I want us to start. Dispelling unrealistic beliefs. When we're going through a situation, many times we start telling ourselves a narrative or telling ourselves a story. One of the key things about building wellness is through mental toughness. And one way of doing that is by starting by dispelling any unrealistic beliefs that we place on ourselves. And we start looking at how we respond to situations. I like to call them thought traps. All right. I want you to put that in the chat. Thought traps. And I want you to think about thought traps, things that we kind of snag ourselves in. Growing up in South Carolina, I remember passing through different fields when I go play in the woods and other things. And sometimes you get little things on your pants and you have to pick them off. You get trapped up in weeds and trapped up in those things. And sometimes that's what happens with our thoughts when we are walking through adversity, we're walking through difficult situations, we start getting into traps in our own thinking. Now, I want you to think about this, take your time with this, because we're working through number 1, which is building mental toughness. What thought traps, perhaps, do you find that emerge when you're walking through certain situations? Any thought traps, perhaps, that you might have? Do you overgeneralize? So I want you to think about things as it relates to your own thoughts and think about any thought traps, because one of the goals of building wellness through resilience is we have to start with our mental toughness. And so part of that might mean I got to look at what I'm thinking and what type of beliefs come to my thinking, and do I dispel quickly unrealistic beliefs? All right. And I look and consider how I respond to situations through my thought traps. So I'm going to pause here for a moment. I'd like to hear from our audience. Engage with us this evening, because again, we're building wellness through resilience. Part of that is community and engaging. All right. And so I want you to think about that. Every now and then, one of my thought traps might be I tell myself a false narrative. That's something that periodically I might engage in. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell myself something. I remember I had a terrible grade in one of my papers might have been December, the last paper I turned in my doctoral class, and it did not go well. And when I saw it, the feedback, my paper was bleeding. And I was like, oh man, I can't make it. I started telling myself, I don't think the professor thinks I can write well. I went through this whole myriad of thoughts, and I got into a trap and almost talked myself out of just giving up. Now, of course, and I'm just being very transparent about that, because I was like, wow, this is, and I started telling myself a narrative, and that wasn't the case once I had some office hours. And I was able to really talk through the scenario. But I had built up a whole story about my writing, and I had no conversation with the professor because I was just feeling a certain way about my writing. And I think it's because I had such high expectations and didn't give myself a chance to make progress. So that's an example of a thought trap. So let's hear from you. Let's see here what else we got coming in. Tonya says this, thinking too much ahead, prejudging that the situation is not going to go well. Thank you for sharing that. That's transparent.
That's good.
Yeah, very good to share that. Thank you so much. We're building mental toughness by looking at our thought traps. Mel, Hope, anything that you want to share? Perhaps any type of thought traps that you might find yourself in or that you may have noticed?
Right. Well, for me, I would just say, let's say overthinking.
Mm,
Mhm. That's me too.
mm.
Overthinking.
So both of you are overthinking. Well, Monique is joining the overthinking club. There it is, right there. Overthinking. We got to,
I think
so
we got a lot of overthinkers on board
overthinking
tonight, huh?
instead of taking time to process my thoughts and reflect more. So you
Very
all are
good. Mhm.
a cluster there of overthinking. So we got overthinking. So we got thinking too much ahead, overthinking, thought trap of perfection. Mhm.
Yeah, that's good
Another
too.
thought trap. Fear of experiencing the same thing again. Oh no, not again. And feeling defeated. I can't do this. Renita, I felt that about my paper. I was like, well, I don't think I can do this. So let me just, and so I kind of walked away from the paper and I came back 4 months later. Okay, so we do tell ourselves certain narratives or thought traps. Here's the key thing about resilience and wellness is that you notice your thought traps.
Mhm.
That's the power of wellness.
Yep.
Is when you notice that you have it. And when you notice that you have a thought trap, that's one step of saying, wow, I'm being empowered because I'm noticing. See, when we don't have self-awareness can lead to denying, or self-awareness may be, I really don't know what's going on. And so I know a lot of times in the proverbial Johari window, we talk about the blind spot, but there's also a bright spot as well. So just like we may have something we can't see, there's also some great things about us that we can't see. And awareness is a great tool. By having conversations like this, where all of us are engaging in dialogue. And so we start noticing what our thought traps are. Toyenda says thought trap, assuming I am not being effective. Thank you for sharing that thought trap.
Mhm.
What else is saying? Michelle says overthinking, which can lead to procrastination or indecision.
Yeah, these are some good responses.
All right. So I think we all are able to look at ourselves and say, okay, here's a thought trap. And so I wanted to start out with building wellness through resilience in the mental toughness area, because once you start noticing a thought trap, you can have power over it because you notice it. And I'll say, okay, I know how to engage it now. And so that's part of building resilience in communities like this, where we can say we're all in development, we're all evolving. And so we're sharing our perspectives in the different thought traps that we might be experiencing. So that's number one. So number one, let's think about mental toughness, how we can build it. And there's so much to discuss about mental toughness. So we can go all night about that. All right. So let's revisit some more of this. Okay. So number two is building and maintaining strong relationships. Sit on this one. Locate yourself with this one. Build and maintain strong relationships. I think I need to sip some tea with this one too. Okay. You at home, go ahead and sip on your tea. Build and maintain strong relationships. I didn't just say build them, maintain them. All right. Any gardeners out there? You'll just plant the seed, right? What do you do? Hope, what do you do?
You have to plant it. You have to water it. You have to ensure that proper things are put on the actual. And cultivate the dirt, turn the dirt first, and then you want to dig and put it in, and then you want to water it, and you have to allow the time to take place for it to grow.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with our maintaining strong relationships. We got to water it. You can't just leave a plant out there and it's like, look at it. You ain't watered me in quite a while. And the plant is looking at you. What's going on? And so we want to build and maintain strong relationships. Now, we say this because social support is important. And what that does is when you begin to look at building and maintaining strong relationships, what you're doing is you're saying that there is something larger than yourself. That's what it does to you. You start noticing, you know what? This is larger than me. It takes the attention on us versus I, or we instead of me. So when we are building and maintaining strong relationships, relationships are simply what revealers of where we are many times. They're reflectors of where we are. And so we're able to really strengthen that in order for us to be able to nurture it and to develop it in a way that is refreshed. This Tayenda says, water your relationships. Absolutely. Water them, just like we were sharing. Thank you so much for that. Colin says, and you sometimes have to fend off destructive insects and the elements.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true, because you have those little critters that come in and they try to eat the fruit or eat the stem. All right, Colin.
This is good.
That's good.
That was good.
Relationships have to be nurtured. Okay. What do we do when we nurture them? We tend to them. We pay attention to them. We turn the soil over, like Hope said. We got to go in and turn it over. Make sure that is the nutrients are there. So one of the key things about building wellness through resilience, a part of resilience, is not only are we being mentally tough by looking at our thought tracks, right? The second part of that would be, how am I building and how am I maintaining my relationships to be strong? And so that will help you understand that you're not alone. Because I know many times we feel, and I felt this way before, when I'm walking through somebody, nobody understands what I'm going through, right? And so immediately when that happens, and there might be some truth to that, what we end up doing, we close ourselves in, right? And, you know, Carmela, I remember when you were growing up, when we lived in Germany, and you had the privilege of going over to the Dead Sea. When you went to the Dead Sea, if you remember, can you hear me?
Yeah, just a little bit. Can you say that again?
What I was saying is that when we lived in Germany, when you went over to the Dead Sea, and I remember you came back and said that, you know, nothing really could live in that sea because it was full of salt and it didn't have an outlet. It wasn't flowing. The water wasn't flowing. And sometimes when we do that, nothing can really grow the way it needs to grow because there's not an input and an output. There's not that outlet and that input. And I remember you sharing that with us when you came back. And that stuck with me ever since I was a child. Like, wow, that's interesting. And so, you know, it's important that we focus on what we can do to maintain and build strong relationships. So I'm going to ask the audience, what are some ways you can maintain and build strong relationships? What are some ways you can build and maintain strong relationships? All right, it's important. All right, Antonia says patience for it to grow. Yes, we have to be patient with it and allow that seed, that plant to grow.
Like that.
I want to hear from the audience here some thoughts. Again, we started out with what? Looking at building mental toughness, perhaps looking at our thought tracks. Now we're looking at building strong relationships. I think there are certain practices and principles we can all grow from with everyone that's out here. So let's hear from the audience. Renita says, give 100%, but also expect it in return. All right. Give 100% and expect that. Thank you for sharing that. Dad, Dr. Brown says, communication, care, accountability. Come on, let's bring all these answers in. Bring it in, folks. And please make sure that you're sharing with others. Let them know that we're here on Tea Time Tuesday. Let them know we're here having tea and having discussion and sharing and building resilience. Open and honest communication. Open and honest communication. Listen to understand and not to respond. Woo. Listen to understand and not respond. Unconditional positive regard. Being fully present in our relationships. We have to do the work. Set an expectation. Break that down for us, Toyinda. Set an expectation. To maintain relationships, it takes understanding of the person's functioning and perspective. All right, Antonia, break that down for us too. I'm going to pull on the audience here for a moment. Set healthy boundaries. Michelle, talk about that with us tonight. Colin, assume positive intention of others. Let's unpack that one as well, Colin. Folks, I'm going to pull on the audience here a little bit, if y'all don't mind, and let's hear from them, see what their thoughts are, because the goal here is to, through resilience, through the audience, through our community this evening, we're building and maintaining strong relationships, because we're here at Tea Time because we all want to be well, and we want to continue to be well, and we want to continue to foster resilience. Tanya says, communication, being sensitive to the needs of others. Unpack that for us as well, Tanya. What does it mean for us to be sensitive to the needs of others? Give us some examples and some perspective on that. This is good stuff. I'm enjoying this. So as we are here at our tea time this evening, I wanted to also share, we this weekend had our ribbon cutting for the Renewal Center, and I want to thank the team, Carmela and Hope, and Emmett as well, our media consultant. This is one of the types of programming that we want to continue to offer, and I can't do it without the team as a visionary and executive director. And I just wanted to thank you both this evening for building with me. We want to offer this type of renewal practice and sharing. And so at the end of our conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about where we're looking at in the future, just kind of have a little brief organic dialogue about vision casting. So I just wanted to, first of all, thank you both and thank everyone who has participated with us in the Renewal Center. And as we're having our discussion this evening, I'm going to give you an opportunity, if you'd like to donate to the Renewal Center. I'm going to place a couple of giving opportunities there at the bottom of the screen. You can give through our website at www.therenewalcenters.com/give. We also have a mobile app that you can download that. So go ahead into your Google, your Apple store, and download the mobile app. You can just type in the Renewal Center and you'll see our logo. You can also text to give. So we'll have those streaming at the bottom as we're having our conversation this evening. If you'd like to partner with us, with our nonprofit organization and support as we're growing and expanding, wanted to share that with you as well. All right, let's shift back here. Let's see what kind of comments coming in. All right, so Yana impacted this. What do we do when you are upset? Ooh. What do you do when I let you down? Wow, maybe I close myself off. Maybe I just create more stories. This is good stuff. Mm-hmm. How do I encourage you to get it together when you don't have it together? Okay, thank you for expanding expectations. All right, expectations means different things for different people. So I want to unpack that. All right, Renita says, be real, your true self. No front, and allow the other person to be his or her authentic self. All right, being real. Thank you very much. Antonia says, if that person is moody, understand that person is going through some stuff and give them the room to go through it. Be present, but understand and give grace.
Giving grace.
And all these relationship tips we're getting this evening. Folks, if you're out there, start writing stuff down. Take some screenshots. Helpful. I'm like, ooh, I need to work on that. What do I do when I'm upset? This good stuff. Let's see what Colin says here. Experientially, we presume negative intentions when others offer a different opinion or expression through words. That presumption creates a conflict in the relationship that may not be true. Wow.
That's good.
Thank you, everyone. This is some good content.
Yes.
Expressing through their words. I got you. I know. Don't worry about the typos. It's all good. So this is good. Thank you, everyone. This is some good content coming through. So we covered a couple of things this evening. One, we covered wellness through resilience and building mental toughness. That was number one, building mental toughness. And then secondly, build and maintain strong relationships. Now, let's shift a little bit here to number three. That's okay, Colin. Typos galore. That's totally fine. You have to have perfect typing. That's building resilience through bad type. That's good. It's all good. All right. Build and sharpen signature strengths. Now, let's really sit on this one if you don't mind. Building and sharpen your signature strengths. That's built. You build wellness through resilience by building and sharpening signature strengths. Absolutely. especially in the world where we constantly, when we think of the word feedback, people automatically get arrested. Feedback, and our brain goes to this negative place. Think about that when we hear that. We just go directly to something negative. The culture has wired us that that's what feedback is about. And it really isn't, which is a whole nother course. Maybe we should do that one day for tea time and have a discussion about feedback from a different perspective, a different lens. But I like us to just camp out on this one. Building and sharpening signature strengths as a way of building wellness through resilience. And this is also about, what do you learn about yourself? How do your strengths contribute?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think about that. How do your strengths contribute? So I'm going to ask you a question. 1, what strengths are you developing? 2, how do your strengths contribute? And then thirdly, what are you learning about yourself through your strengths? Some good questions. So let's talk about, again, what are you learning about yourself through your strengths? How are your strengths contributing? And what strengths are you currently developing? And that is one way of building wellness through resilience, is by building and sharpening your signature strength. Mm-hmm. Now, there's also something called the shadow side of strength. We want to talk a little about the shadow side of strength. And I'm going to share that a little bit here in a moment. But I want us to just really sit here with this particular slide and think about building and sharpening our signature strengths. We got 3 more, and then we'll be finished for this evening. But I want you to answer that question, if you will. 1, just any of those questions. What are you learning about yourself through your strengths? What strengths do you have that are being developed, and how are your strengths contributing? Hope and Mel, you want to chime in on those questions?
Yeah, when you think about working with our skills and honing in on that, I really think that personal development, sharpening our personal development, is so important with building resilience, because it teaches us to have grit and it teaches us tenacity. When we're learning new things, it teaches us self-discovery too. So some things we're relearning over and over again, but we're sharpening it at the same time. So it teaches us it gives us confidence, in what we're doing. And that's a big part of our well-being. So I think sharpening our skills and honing in on it makes a big difference in our personal development, because we can always grow.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Hope, thing on your mind?
For me, it is being able to, with the strengths I have, the application of it, applying it to different areas of my life, where to apply it, how to apply it, that it will not only benefit myself, but benefit others. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's the strengths that I have, and being able to make sure that I am able to help others with the strengths that I have, and use them and maximize my strengths as well. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just, as you said, Pastor Carmela, that you said the gain the information and the knowledge. Then after gaining it, then you want to be able to release it and have the strength to be able to release to others that you connect with or that you're with. So for me, it's just being able to, as I understand my strength, being able to release it so that it can help others hone in on their strengths and add to their lives.
Yes.
Thank you. That's good.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Mm-hmm. So I think this particular section on building wellness through resilience is helping us recognize that in those 3 questions, what are you learning about yourself through your strengths, having discussions about how your strengths are contributing, just like what Hope just shared, and then what strengths are you developing? So those are things I would encourage you, especially if you lead teams, even in your jobs or your organization. Spend some time having a discussion with your team about that, and you will find such innovation, creativity emerge in a conversation, and you finding out what others have. So I'm grateful for your answers. Thank you so much for sharing that. Colin is saying, emotional endurance. I am more capable of thriving with less. I become more empathetic to the growth journey of others, and I'm less reliant on the approval of others to experience satisfaction and fulfillment. Excellent answer. Thank you for sharing those answers. Anybody else wants to answer those questions again? Think about what you're learning about yourself through your strengths. Think about what strengths that you have that are contributing, and then also what strengths you are developing. There's a shadow side also that I want to talk about. Thank you, Antonia. She says, I agree, hope setting healthy boundaries in my relationships will help the person understand my requirements. Okay, all right. Thank you for sharing that. Good. So let's think through this. The shadow side of strengths is when you stay in your strength too much and you want others to have your strengths as well. That's the shadow side of strength, is when you know yours, but you want somebody else to have yours. That's the shadow part. I'm a very strategic person. And so being very strategic, I have the tendency to look at strategy, and I'm already at a month from now. And so if I stay in that strength too much and overuse it, the people that are detailed orientation, I can become impatient with them. Because that person has a strength in being detailed, I have a strength in being strategic, and I miss the tactical. Does that make sense? So it's important, again, we're talking about awareness, is that when you stay in your strength and overuse your strength, then what ends up happening is you want others to do the same strength that you have. And that's not how resilience is built. Resilience is built by honoring, recognizing other people's strength, and providing the space for that to shine, providing the space for that to be released or to contribute to the group. So I wanted to just hone in on that you have a shadow side of strength as well. Have you ever experienced it? Y'all probably experienced that with me.
That's okay.
I just put it out there,
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? It's okay. I'll just say this really quick. It's the capacity to be able to have grace. To be able to have patience and show empathy towards the individual, not having a negative, view. So there, we just have to have grace. I can't, expect someone to be like me, or if they don't, respond or act according to what I feel. And so there's a measure of grace that's there, and a measure of patience. And then you also have to look at their view. What are their strengths? And then the capacity to be able to work together, and moving forward. So just being gracious, having that grace to extend to someone that we would want to be extended to us.
Yes, thank you. We must do that. So I wanted us to really think about that as we're growing in our strengths, that we recognize the importance of building them, sharpening them, and also not overusing them as part of wellness and building out resilience. So what else we have? Tony, okay, let's see here. Said, okay, get extremely stressed when people don't do things the way I do because my way is the best way. Just kidding. Yeah, it is. He's telling you. Go ahead and tell on yourself. Yeah. So it's good that we are sharing like this because, again, awareness is key to growth and expansion.
Yes.
Awareness is a key to growth and expansion. All right. So I wanted to share that. Let's go to the next one. And again, there were some open-ended questions. If you want to still answer those questions regarding signature strengths, please go ahead and feel free to post those as well in the comments. Next point, develop an opportunity for growth mindset. An opportunity for growth mindset. Develop an opportunity for growth mindset. And I want you to really sit with this one. An opportunity for growth mindset. Wow. How is that building wellness through resilience is developing an opportunity for growth mindset? What do we need to do in order for us to foster that a little bit stronger? I'm going to bring this up one more time. What this means is not dwelling on problems and replaying them consistently. Not dwelling on a problem and just constantly replaying it. So what that does is we move into victimization, we move into being overwhelmed, and learning to accept that this is part of life and ask ourselves, how can I grow through this circumstance?
That's right.
Talking about wellness through resilience. Anybody having any challenges on their jobs? Start thinking, Is this an opportunity for growth? This is not going to constantly last, but instead of me dwelling in the problem, how can I see this as an opportunity for growth? You just sit with that. Because sometimes we internalize or react. So instead, what we're doing is we're thinking, well, how can I develop an opportunity for growth mindset through this? So that's another part of wellness and through resilience is by stepping back and really allowing myself to develop this opportunity for growth type of perspective. And that this particular section and the next section are somewhat similar because number 4 is about developing an opportunity for growth. Number 5 is develop a positive outlook and healthy perspective. Mm-hmm. How many times do we visualize the encouraging or the best outcome? Or perhaps maybe we've been one where we immediately went to the negative and we played it all the way out. You driving home, you start talking to yourself. You start talking about the whole scenario, having a full-blown conversation about a problem and nobody in the car but you. we visualize it in our heads. So are we thinking about visualizing the most encouraging outcome possible? Because how you think, again, impacts how you feel. How you think impacts how you feel. So if our thinking is, well, this, it's just always going to be the way that it is, then that means our feelings and our emotions will follow that thought. What are your thoughts on that? Just curious as to what your thoughts are on that, Hope or Mel. You think?
Oh, I believe that wholeheartedly. What we dwell on the most is what we're leaning into the most. And so, I mean, positivity means everything, so how we see things, if we see the glass half full or do we see it half empty? Mm-hmm. It all depends on our perspective. And so I think that having a healthy well-being and maintaining positivity is so important in how we can move forward in our lives through whatever the situation is. Everything's not going to be easy. It's not a bed of roses, but having that positive outlook is an asset to each and every one of us. I know for me, shifted my mind from what it looks like, what I think it might look like, to playing it out in a positive way. Okay, it could look like this if I think in a positive manner about it.
That's right. And you're engaging in a self-talk that causes you to say, okay, now I'm shifting into productivity. And you start noticing how you talk to yourself, how you engage yourself. So that's an effective practice. Hope anything you want to share about that?
I just want to share just kind of what you said. Even for maybe those situations that we're trying to have a mindset or foster a mindset where you take a moment to pause and say, okay, what can I learn from this situation from a positive perspective, either not to face the situation again, not to replay the situation, but to have a positive outlook to say, okay, this situation may have happened, but how can I grow from this? What can I learn from this? And how can I move forward in a positive way? And so that's very important when we're dealing with those, challenging moments or challenging times. That's the way to foster growth and to move forward in a healthy way by having a healthy mindset, even in those situations. And this is a part of building the mental agility to say, okay, what am I learning from this? And take time to pause, take a moment to stop, even journal, that situation, sit down and journal, okay, and say, okay, this happened, but here again, what can I do to change it in a more positive perspective? How can my mindset, how can I foster a growth developing mindset to learn from each situation that I encounter, whether that be on your job, whether it be about relationships, whether it be just about our own mental health and wellness. Sometimes we know what to do for wellness, but we may fall short. And so not to just be hard on ourselves, just to say, okay, I think where I failed here, so this going forward, I'm going to make sure I change this and adjust this. A positive perspective and a positive mindset is always good in moving forward into having a continued growth mindset.
That's good.
Yes,
This is good.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. We got some good comments coming in. Malik says here, be solution oriented, find something positive in every situation when possible. Colin, I'm glad you say that too, because I find self-talk, that kind of self-talk is also productive as well. Opportunity. Thank you for sharing that. Michelle says an opportunity for growth is sometimes letting go of what we had in mind. Because thinking of something for too long, especially if it's not a healthy path, we can convince ourselves that it's good or right. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. Anita says, I think you have to be intentional about having a positive outlook. Instead of thinking or saying, what if something bad happens, to what if something good happens or helpful happens.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. Make the choice to look at the situation through a positive, healthy lens. Can I also add to that we need to ask questions, how are you doing? What's going on? Instead of just saying, what's wrong with you? Okay. So even how we frame our questions, that might be something as well we can consider as we're engaging other people. Yes, we have to make sure that we do self-talk. That's right. Before you press that send on that text and that chat, check it out. All right. And do that also corporately in your emails. Think about those things. So I wanted us to really consider this. And I wrote down something about how you think impacts how you feel. How you think impacts how you feel. So if I have a certain thought process, my emotions will follow that thought process. So we got to be, I would encourage us to think through that and adopt and adapt and develop a positive outlook and healthy perspective. Colin says here, I often incorporate positive thinking with physical exercise, and it seems to make change and growth more accessible and feasible, leading me to possibility thinking. Ooh.
Yes.
Right. So those of you that are going walking tomorrow morning, okay, or you do some working out, okay, add positive thinking to your physical exercise. Saying to yourself, I am healthy. I am healthy. I'm doing well. I'm developing my well-being. You're growing, and so it becomes more accessible. Thank you for sharing that particular part. That's an excellent thought process. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, let's go to the last point this evening in our building wellness through resilience. And lastly, it is create ways to help or serve others. What does this have to do with wellness? Because it turns the attention on others. Acts of kindness help you become grounded. Acts of kindness will help you with peace. It helps you keep things in perspective. It helps you recognize what's right with the world versus what's wrong with it. There are so many good things in the world when we learn to serve. When I offer kindness, service to someone, I see what's great in them. I see what they possess. And so when we do that, resilience is developed in our community when I see that person. And I say, serving gives because it's action. And that action of serving, that action of helping enlarges your capacity to see what's right in the world, not what's wrong with it. You step out in the morning and it just had a storm. Well, it's storming outside. But then you go out in the morning after it rains and you just go out and just take a nice deep breath. And you just look at the dew and the water. And when you start, you notice what's right. And so when you see someone and you offer them service and you help them, you see what's right. So I wanted us to really think about this as a last practice. All right. That building wellness through resilience is also we create ways to help or serve others. That is so important that we hone in on that. So many good things in the world when I learn to serve. Absolutely it is. What are your thoughts for the panel? Just in terms of just creating ways to help or serve others and how that impacts building wellness through resilience. Any thoughts on that?
Build a positive environment. Gratitude makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
It builds such a positive atmosphere to walk into and to leave out of. So if you're serving, and you're giving of yourself, you've just opened up a realm of just the positive environment that you're in. It just, everyone can get a benefit or gain benefits from that. So I agree wholeheartedly about service, which is a part of, act of kindness and gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. I just believe in just concur with you, Patrick, about the opportunity to be able to release wellness to others when we're serving them. This promotes wellness of the individual as well, not just wellness for ourselves, but it brings wellness to others when we serve others, when we're, transparent with others, when we take the opportunity to serve and want nothing in return. It's just really good, and that promotes wellness for the other
Yeah.
individual that you're serving, that you're coming in contact with. And so that's really good. Serving is a way of promoting wellness to the people that you're serving.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is so rich.
Mm-hmm.
As we think about wellness this month, ways we can foster it. I just want to do a quick recap of what we've shared this evening. Thank you so much for sharing that, Colin. You're more welcome. Thank you for participating this evening in your comments as well. Renita says kindness and serving others reap benefits for both parties. The receiver is encouraged, and it helps your body and your mind.
Yes.
Some rich discussion this evening. So everyone that's connecting with us, our tea timers, I want you to please share with us what's the takeaway from our discussion, from our renewal practices this evening. We started out, number one, with building mental toughness, how we dispel our certain beliefs, unrealistic beliefs, and looking at our thought traps, perhaps, how we react to situations. Then we went to number two, build and maintain strong relationships. We had some incredible responses. 3, build and sharpen your signature strengths. Number 4, develop an opportunity for growth mindset. Opportunity for growth mindset. Develop a positive outlook and healthy perspective. And lastly, create ways to help or serve others. So that's our tea time renewal practices for this evening. So I wanted us to share also, just briefly before we wrap up, and a few more announcements, ways that you can support. Again, the Renewal Center wanted to bring this up. For those of you that perhaps this is your first time engaging us, or you have been involved with our tea times, which we do every single Tuesday. The first, second, and third Tuesdays, it's at 12 p.m. So if you'd like to set your calendar, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, feel free to connect with us on those Tuesdays. And then going forward on fourth Tuesdays, 7 o'clock, we're going to be having our tea time community. So I'm looking forward to the different engaging renewal practices. And there's ways you can support us through our website, or if you text to give, you can text Renewal Center to that number. If you like to mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1381 here in Concord, you can cash out us as well. Cash Renewal Center. So feel free to cash out us as well. And PayPal, the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. We encourage you to also download our mobile app. We're looking forward to how you can read our blog, you can engage us in our Monday motivational words, our announcements, turn your notifications on. We want to engage you in renewal practices. So just want to extend the opportunity to support our nonprofit. And if you're in the Charlotte area, Concord area, please feel free to drop by at 159 Church Street, right there in the historic district of Concord. So I wanted to share that with you. And also we're looking at developing a tea time journal here soon. So we will be talking with you. If you're interested in the tea time journal, let us know. If there are some perhaps topics that you'd like us to discuss, please inbox, let us know. We're looking forward. We'd like to have some guests on and let's have tea together, especially on the fourth Tuesdays. And we can just engage in this type of conversation to help build all of us. That's what we're here for. So before we close out, Please make sure in the chat you go ahead and share with us what your takeaways are for this evening as well. Tony, she says, I have to work on my growth mindset when I disagree with the perspective. All right, we're going to do a check-in. All right, Antonia, let's keep growing in that. That's an excellent, excellent goal in mind. All right, so 2 announcements we want to make here. First announcement is that we also have on Wednesday, starting in September, we have a series called Reforming Culture. And so part of one of our visions is to teach people how to reform culture. So we have actually a series called Principles of Spiritual Maturity from the book of Ephesians. And part of our Revealing Christ initiative involved with our organization. We have every first, second, and third Wednesdays. Actually, we're going to start at 7:30 this time. All right, I apologize, I got the wrong flyer up, excuse me. But you feel free to register, go to our pages, Facebook pages. Please feel free. I'm also going to share, if Hope can share with us, she has an encounter coming up. I want her to maybe speak to this. If you can share with us, Hope, what's coming up in September.
Sure. They're coming up in September. As you see, we have the Dig Deep Prophetic Encounter, internal development, inner development, internal design. Again, this is going to be about the inward man of who you are, the inward person of who you are. As I say, dig deep. We're going to definitely dig deep. And this is going to be an awesome encounter. Of course, you see that Apostle Patrick will be the speaker. And we invite you to join us for a time. This will be Heimberg, so you'll be able to watch it from home. Or you'll be able, if you're in the area, we invite you, because this is going to be at the Renewal Center. So we invite you to join us for this time of encounter and experience the inner digging deep and gaining a better understanding of who you are and your authenticity that you possess.
All right. And that is sponsored by Hope. So we're excited. I'm looking forward to being a part of that. So I'll give you more than enough time to set aside some time to be with us that weekend. So we're excited about that. All right, a few more questions here. What are your takeaways? Let's look at the takeaways. All right, Michelle is saying, takeaway, know the core of who we are and being authentic to who we are so that we're healthy and whole when we have opportunity to serve others. All right, thank you for sharing that. Hello, Dad, Dr. Paul C. Brown. Hello, hello. Yes, thank you for being a part of this. You're more than most welcome. Thank you for being a part this evening. Anybody else want to share your takeaways from this evening? Tanya says, growth mindset creates opportunities for us to live outside of our comfort zones. As we live outside of our comfort zones, our lives expand and is enriched. Serving others is a lifeline. As we give life, we bring life to ourselves. Oh, yes, that last line. As we give life, we bring life to ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. So, again, anybody want to share your takeaways? We look forward to being with you again. And hopefully next Tuesday at 12 p.m. we'll be back. But every 4th Tuesday, 7 p.m., we'll be here to engage in conversations like this to focus on building community. So thanks, everyone, for being a part. Any last words from any of you this evening before we get started?
No, I just want to say this has been a phenomenal tea time. Great interaction from the tea time, our tea time community. So we want to thank all of you for your interaction and everything that you shared. Really a rich, positive conversation tonight to foster wellness and well-being. So this has just been a great time and a great dialogue that we've had this evening, and just really excited and looking forward to our tea time journal that people will be able to have, that will have share some of these renewal principles in. So I had a great time and great conversation tonight.
Thank you, Hope. Carmela, any words from you?
Yeah, I want to ditto Hope. Everything she said. I mean, it was just awesome tonight. We had our tea timers just really chimed in and just really gave this a great dialogue for all of us to, glean from one another like we always do on Tea Time Tuesdays. And I want to thank you for great fundamentals and renewal practices that we can use going forward.
You're welcome. This has been very healthy. Colin shared here that community dialogue reinforces these truths in a dynamic way. I experienced and felt growth in this time. Thank you so much. Monique shared, said, thank you, Renewal Center team, for a great conversation this evening. And again, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for contributing. Antonia says here, I enjoyed this conversation. Thanks. Look forward to the journal. Yeah. All right. We got a journal part. Yeah. We'll put it together.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, one thing that we say here at the Renewal Center is I am renewal, and to take care of each other. All right. We appreciate it. And we hope that you have a very good evening. Relax, rest, reset, and increase your resilience. We'll see you soon.